Good day, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Silakbo, the backstories behind these stories. Take a break from the spooky and chilling season of the Halloween and rekindle with love as you read our anthology. This session is brought to you by the Independent Collective. I'm your host, Carla Lorena, and today we will be interviewing one of our Indico writers, Klaire Dubouzet, the author of one of Silakbo's essay, My Shoulder Angel. Hi, Claire. So, how's your week going? Nice to have you here.
Hi, so thanks for inviting me. I'm doing well. Just been resting since it's been really rainy, so it's really cold. It's like perfect weather to just sleep and,
That's
read
true.
books.
So, yeah, the weather is really making you want to just sleep, play in bed, and perhaps read our anthology. Okay, so that's really good to hear. So, I want to ask how you're doing so far, but like that's a common question to ask. So, since writers naman tayo dito, both creatives, I would like to ask you first, what's something about today or maybe this week that you would like to write about, or maybe this month, whatever time feels closer to you. Like, do you have any stories you would like to share?
Probably since it's undas,
Mm-hmm.
probably about my family or my late grandmother or my late cousin. Yeah.
Mm. So that's a good story to write about, like your for example, the people who have like passed away or the people who are not anymore there and you just miss them. So that's a really good writing prompt, especially in this kind of season. So as for me, I think like I would also like to write about that. And the cold season is making you want to write about sad stuff. Especially that we have a new like Taylor Swift album.
Right?
Yeah,
I've been
so
listening to it all week.
yes, me too. Like I think I'm part of the reason why it's for like on the top list of most streamed music.
The
So
same.
yeah, it's really one of the music that makes that's making you want to write and write. So yeah, dahil napasok naman na sa usapan natin like about love, let's talk about that. Especially yan yung theme ng anthology series natin. So for our audience who haven't read our book yet, so can you give them a glimpse of the piece that you've written in Silakbo?
Okay, so I wrote about the essay that I wrote is titled "My Shoulder Angel Nicole," and it's basically about my relationship with a friend of mine who I met in college, and I basically talk about how our love for each other as friends, of course, like it helped me to get a different perspective in life just because sometimes love isn't just those like kilig
Yeah, that's true.
moments that Prince Charming,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. So I wrote about love in a form of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what's it about.
Yeah, because some people mistake love as just, just focusing on the romantic side of it. But really, there's a wide range of love, especially platonic. And I think it's, if I were your friend, I'd really be honored and privileged that someone wrote something for me and that it got published. So, whoever is that shoulder angel, Nicole, you're quite and very lucky. I think both of you are lucky to have each other. So, Gabe, the way you deliver your story, sobrang powerful. And I just love how you were able to communicate your appreciation to your friend through that piece. So, if you would recall, do you have a memory of when's the very first time that you've written something? Like, what was the moment that made you realize na, gusto ko magsulat. I want to be a writer.
I think it would be back in grade 6
Mm-hmm.
or probably before that kasi
Mm-hmm.
my favorite subject in elementary was English.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember back then, like, I think grade 3, grade 1, I
Mm-hmm.
even got a perfect score, as in 100 out of
Wow.
100. But then I think it was in grade 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the start of like the hype of
Mm-hmm.
Wattpad.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, so there was this story I read. Actually, there was a lot, but I don't remember the title anymore. But I think it was that one that made me want to be a writer. Kasi
Mm-hmm.
parang I wanted to be able to like help the readers,
Mm-hmm.
make them feel what I also felt while I was reading that Wattpad story.
Mm.
I remember I even made a draft, but I've never finished it. Like I just planned it out, pero ayun.
I can relate so much kasi it was like during those times, yung sobrang sikat ng Wattpad stories, ebook, sobrang sikat niya talaga and ang daming mga stories na parang mapapaisip ka na, hala, gusto ko rin maging ganito, right? Kasi it's a powerful thing the way we are able to read those stories and we are able to feel things about them. Parang there's something about these words na, these are just words, how is it able to like make me feel this kind of thing? So at some point talaga, that's what's making us want to become writers too. Or like, just want to become those authors. Kaya siguro yung mga very first dreams talaga natin is, okay, gusto ko rin talaga maging published authors. And siguro lahat tayong writers, merong mga ganyan na unpublished drafts. Yung mga, yung mga sinusulat na hindi natin tinutuloy, right?
Yung mga hindi na dapat
Yeah.
nakikita.
Yung mga nakakahiyang part na balikan. Pero
Oo.
even if it's embarrassing, it makes you like it's a memory that makes you remember na, oh, this is the starting point of everything talaga, di ba? And like it reminds you where your passion really started. So usually it happens naturally. You pour out words and then suddenly you realize how deeply passionate you are with, expressing yourself through writing. So do you have like an instance where you ever thought na, okay, I'm gonna pursue writing as a career? Kasi di ba most of us, we just do it for a hobby, passion. But as a career, have you ever seriously thought about that?
Siguro there was a point in
Mm,
time back in high school, pero hindi rin siya gano'n tumagal kasi with the culture,
mhm.
with our culture in the
That's
Philippines,
true.
it's parang when it comes to arts,
Mm,
it's banned. Parang ano, there's no money there. You
that's
won't
true.
you won't earn a living.
Mm-hmm.
So parang ayun, nawala din yung thought na gawin ko yung career. Instead,
Mm.
I decided parang I'll just pursue it as a hobby. Parang
Yeah, that's true.
dual
Yeah.
personality na one side is career, then I still have the writing.
Mm-mm. That's true. Like, parang may side hustle na lang siya kasi, di
Mm,
ba, here in our country, sad as it may seem, yun talaga yung view natin with writing. Like, it's not practical to pursue that, right? Like, for
mm.
some, perhaps, it's like a success stories, but like one in a million stories yung succeed talaga yung published authors and stuff. Sometimes we just, stay in the sidelines kasi dun lang tayo nakakapagsulat and sometimes we have a lot of things na we have to focus on, not just in writing. And minsan kasi time-consuming talaga siya, di ba? Like, coming up with the
Oo,
idea, yung ipapaikutin natin yung plot twist, that's really hard to,
oo.
di ba?
It's harder pa if you're a perfectionist.
Yeah, that's true. I think we all have that kind of trait as writers na super perfectionist natin na we want to fill the pages as
Mm.
perfect as we can.
Like
Kasi
parang gusto mo na kaagad unang pagsulat mo pa lang na ang ganda na.
yeah, that's true. Kasi 'di ba kapag inuulit-ulit mo siyang basahin, sometimes parang nag-iiba na yung tingin mo sa kanya na, hala, ang pangit ng nasusulat ko.
Oo.
That's true. Kaya super time consuming niya. Kaya minsan we just wanna do it during our free time or yung gusto nating may safety net tayo na okay, if it doesn't work out in my writing career, then at least I have these other professions, 'di ba?
Mm.
That's the truth in for us writers. So, since may ganong view na like writing sometimes could be consuming, was there an instance na you wanted to let go of your passion in writing? So yung point na super hirap ng magsulat for you, was there a moment like that?
Oo, high school rin. Pero like towards the end na ng high school kasi
Mm.
I felt like ayun nga kasi I'm a perfectionist.
Mm-mm.
Hindi ko na sasabihin na a bit of perfection, pero I'm a perfectionist
Perfectionist.
talaga. So, parang I felt na ano, na I wanted what I wrote
Mm-hmm.
be perfect. So,
Mm.
parang alam mo yun kasi m parang nag-procrastinate ako dahil siyempre
Mm-mm.
kasi gusto ko perfect yung unang sulat pa lang. So, parang naano rin ako na ano ba tawag dun, parang nanghinayang or like na demotivate ba
Mm-mm.
na
True.
magsulat kasi ano, ayun nga, I wanted it to be perfect pero I
Mm-mm.
couldn't. So, parang I let my thoughts hinder myself, gano'n.
Mm.
Ayun.
Kasi,
Pero
mm-mm.
Yeah, pero eventually ngayon, medyo okay na. I learned from someone na kasi what I'm looking at is the bigger picture
Mm-mm.
rather than the smaller picture. Like, it's daw, just take small steps. Like,
That's true.
yeah.
Like gradual steps talaga. Kasi I think sometimes the reason why we give up on our passion, kasi it can feel, alam mo yung burdening, yung weight na you have to be able to do this as beautifully as you can. Kasi you like doing this, eh. It's your passion, it's my passion. So if it's my passion, then I have to be able to do this well. Tapos yung burden, yung weight na you're not going to accomplish it the way you expected it to be. That's like alam mo yun, demotivating thought, like, nakakapanghina ng loob. So,
Oo.
yeah, and I'm really glad na you're able to, surpass that moment, overcome those thoughts na, okay, I just want to give up my writing. So, I think all writers arrive at that point, siguro yung may writing block, and so it's really a good thing that you were able to overcome that. So, because it's quite hard for us to continue with our craft talaga, how did how were you able to arrive at your subject for your Silakbo essay?
So, for my Silakbo
Mm-hmm.
essay, actually, yun, I wanted to write about my family at first.
Family.
Yes, and I already had a draft, pero
Mm-mm.
I was being a perfectionist, and I felt like it
Yeah.
was perfect. So I
Mm-mm.
scrapped the idea. And then, fun fact, it was
Mm-mm.
actually my friend's birthday, yung
Ah,
subject ko.
okay.
Her birthday was coming up.
Mm-mm.
So parang ayun, so that's how I came to it na I
Wow.
decided na I'll write about her.
Wow, that's great. So, like, parang birthday gift.
Oo.
Nakaka-touch naman yon. So, anong mas mahirap pa? Yung parang, was it harder na parang settling at a topic? Kasi, di ba, marami kang pwedeng sulatan, your family, your other friends. Or, mas mahirap ba, like, establishing the story about that friend? Like, how you're going to show your love for that friend? What's harder for you?
Feel ko it's establishing the story. Kasi for thinking about what to write is
Mm-mm.
sometimes easy kasi
Mm-mm.
sometimes ideas just keep
Yeah, that's right.
popping in your mind.
Mm-mm.
Pero when it comes to actually writing it and like letting the world know how you feel.
Mm,
Kasi you want the world, parang you want it to be as perfect as
that's
possible. Parang
true.
when somebody reads your work, na
Mm-mm.
parang they know what's going on in your mind and they can feel that. So I feel
Mm-mm.
like that's the harder part compared to thinking of a topic.
That's true. Siguro yung mas mahirap na part talaga is, letting the world hear what you want them to hear. 'Di ba? Kasi ang hirap ng ganun kasi sometimes there are messages that we want to communicate, emotions that we want our readers to be able to feel, pero we don't know how we're going to do that. 'Di ba? It's one of the most challenging part. So I think that's the challenge talaga for you to be able to craft the story. So, how did you feel nung nasulat mo na yung story, na-complete mo na yung essay mo for Silakbo? How did you feel?
Masaya.
Accomplished, right?
Oo, may mabasa na.
Yeah, that's true. And being able to publish that essay, that's really a good thing kasi not just you're able to finish a story, but you're able to, alam mo yon, you're able to give the world a memory of this very important person to you. So, ano naman yun, like, your relationship is forever, like, alam mo yun, engraved in the,
Like,
you're
kahit
giving.
wala na tayo, andun pa rin,
Yeah,
mababasa pa
that's
rin
true.
nila.
I think that's one of the legacies of being a writer. Now you're able to leave pieces and memories of you, even like years or decades from now when you're not anymore here. And sometimes, like, even when, the relationships turn sour, you know, there's still this, yeah, you're still able to engrave this memory of you with a certain person, of a certain memory with them. So that's really good. So having been an author of love anthology, do you think it's much more interesting to write tragic and painful stories rather than the ones that end happily? What do you think? Which one do you feel more as a writer?
As a writer,
As a writer.
it would be at the tragic and painful.
Mm,
Kasi I
tragic.
feel like I write better when I'm sad.
Ah,
Like
that's
the
true.
emotions would just
Mm-mm.
pour out. Kaya
Mm-mm.
I think as a writer, it would be the tragic and painful.
Yeah, That's true. Like when we're overwhelmed with negative emotions, right? Sometimes the only way we can pour it out is through writing. Kapag masaya ka kasi parang I think there's nothing to write about. Gusto mo lang i-enjoy yung moment, 'di ba? Siguro
Tama.
that's the reason why ano. But how about being a reader? What do you prefer more? The happy ones or the tragic? This is the tragic
It's
one.
contradicting, pero I would prefer to read
Ah, ha.
stories
Mm.
instead of the sad ones.
That's true. Kasi sometimes it makes you feel like hopeless when you're reading tragic stories and sometimes you just
Sad
want
ka
some
na na, magpapakasad ka pa lalo.
pero with songs, ganyan tayo, di ba? Like, kung saan tayo gusto natin sad song.
Oo, tama.
That's true. Pero minsan may impact kasi talaga, di ba, yung mga tragic stories. Like, it makes you sometimes, sobrang, when it makes you more sad, the more it, like, resonates with you, mas naiiwan siya. Kasi minsan when it's happy, tumataas yung standards mo sa buhay, di ba? You want to experience that things that you're reading. So on a scale of like brutally tragic to intensely happily ever after, what point would you like how would you rate your story for the readers to know? Is it happy? Like what's the genre of
I
that?
think it's, in the middle. It's not
Mm-mm.
brutally tragic,
Mm-mm.
pero it's not that happy. But
Happy,
it's
yeah.
still somewhat happy.
Yeah, that's true. I was able to read Claire's work and it was really good because there's this right balance of being able to learn from the experience and relationships, but also being happy na, wow, it's all possible pala to be able to find people like this. You know, kahit just one person, but if you find them in this, like in the midst of this busy world, tapos you're able to have these people which could change your life, diba? It's like a really rare occurrence na sometimes we think na it's possible for it to just happen pero in reality it's very rare talaga to find people like that. So why do you think people should read our anthology? Like what's like something that you personally learned from it?
Well, first of all, I think people should read our anthology para malaman nila kung ano ba yung sagot sa previous tanong. Pero other than that, kasi I've read our anthology and I have a copy of it. Hindi ko lang, it's not with me right now. Pero it's full of stories about love, and some of it is not the typical love and some of it is the typical love. Pero it's all so interesting. So if you want to know more about the authors, you'd really get to know more about them through the anthology. Plus, ano na rin, so, syempre, support local authors.
That's true. And it's a different experience being able to read real stories kasi 'di ba usually when it's fictional, we just read those, you know, standards, the expectations that we have and minsan it's very unrealistic kasi it's not anymore true. It's based on our imaginations na and we project these expectations towards people na na totoong tao, 'di ba?
Mm.
They're not fictional. So being able to read these stories, it gives you like a different perspective. Like it gives you an entirely different view of love because it doesn't merely focus on the romantic side, but it also makes you realize na, oh, I have so much love na I'm taking for granted talaga, 'di ba? It's being able to learn that, to be able to realize that it's something different. So if I were to ask you, is it worth buying Silakbo?
Definitely, yes. Siyempre.
Yeah, that's true. Support local talaga. And as of the many, you know, the many stories that you'd be able to read, it would feel like you're connecting with strangers, right? Like people you would never meet, people who you do not know, you would be able to take a part of them and be able to learn from their experiences. So when it comes to like your growth as a writer, how did Silakbo contributed to that?
I feel like it contributed somewhat a lot. Kasi
Mm,
before I wrote for Silakbo, it was like, I was blank. Like, not blank blank, pero like, wala akong sinusulat and I have
mm,
no motivation. Like, kasi, as I said before, I was a perfectionist nga. So,
mm,
parang ayun, I was stuck without writing anything. And then when I saw Indico's post for
mm,
Silakbo, when they were asking for entries,
mm,
parang it sparked my interest again for writing. And it really helped kasi it made me realize na if you want to write, just do
Mhm.
it.
That's
Parang
true.
kahit isang sentence lang, just do it. It
Yes.
doesn't matter whether it's perfect or not, as long as may masulat ka.
That's true. That's a very good insight talaga. And I'm glad na you were able to, stumble upon that independent collective's post about Silakbo. Because I think it was meant for you to be able to reignite your passion in writing, diba? And right now, have you been writing? Ganon, like writing articles or essays?
I've been
Wow.
writing an article. Ayun, baka malay mo ma-post na lang ng isang beses.
So we're really like
Surprise
looking,
na lang.
yeah, we're really looking forward for your essays and all your other writings in the future. And I'm really glad na, Silakbo became your turning point. Na it's one of the things that was able to make you reunite with your passion in writing talaga. So before we end, would you like to give our audience some writing tips so that they could also get published or whenever they get some writer's block? How do you go on with your passion?
Siguro ano, if you're at a writer's block,
Mm-hmm.
what I've been doing if I get a writer's block is to read actually.
Mm.
Just read and read.
That
Tapos, after reading, try writing.
mm,
Kahit it doesn't matter na, ayun nga, like I said before, it doesn't matter if it's perfect. Just
mhm.
write one sentence and malay mo, it would continue on from there. And try not to think of the bigger picture. Just think of finishing that one sentence or that one paragraph.
That's
So,
true. Little by little talaga we would be able to accomplish our goals. And you know what how would you know na little by little the sentences that you try to build it would have you published as an author, right? So I'm
mm.
really happy to be able to discuss with you, converse with you, Claire, about your My Shoulder Angel essay in Silakbo. And that ends our interview. So thank you so much, Claire, for that fruitful conversation. I really loved your insights and advices to our audience. So for those of you who haven't read it yet, you may purchase our Silakbo anthology through Shopee and Lazada, and in our platforms you will also find the links so that you may find the book. So this is Carla Lorena wishing you a happy and lovely weekend, and hopefully you'd also find your own shoulder angel. Bye, Claire. Thank you so much.
Bye, Carla. Thank you.